Hey guys, hope you're doing well. In this video, I'm going to be walking you through the number one, yes, I said it, the number one B2B data source known as AI Ark. As always, I'm going to walk you through the platform. I'm going to show you some of the features. I'm going to show you how you can do some list building. I'm also going to give you some context and nuance on how we use it here at Prospectology. Now, if you're a B2B sales leader, founder, or a marketing leader, then this video is for you. If you're new to the channel, my name is Michael. I'm the founder of Prospectology. We help B2B fintech, HR, AI, and SaaS clients build the top of the funnel for the third of the price of an in-house SDR team. Now, let's get straight into the video. So, as always, I love to give context and nuance. I'm all about the detail here. So I'm going to give you a bit of detail and nuance, context, and then I'm going to walk you through the platform itself. So stay to the end so you can actually see what the platform looks like. And I'm also going to cheekily link my affiliate link in the description below for you to go ahead and actually test AI Ark for your own outbound and do some list building to get some good results. So let's dive into the website itself. So one thing I want to kind of magnify and focus on is the fact that we have a number of very sharp individuals that are the innovators of the go-to-market industry today. Now, again, I'm privy to this. I'm in the industry myself and I know who's who. So we've got some really cool cats on this page here that are endorsing AI Ark. Now, they wouldn't be endorsing it if it wasn't a super cool tool and actually enhance their workflows. So I just wanted to pinpoint that and show that to you yourself. Now, let's talk about the tool itself. So AI Ark has a number of different features that are very similar to the other B2B data providers that are out there today. However, one thing that I like to stress, and I think is one of the best things that is necessary today when we're doing outbound, is how frequently these data providers refresh their data. Now, most B2B tools today, probably some, I'm not going to say how they do it, I don't know how they do it, but they probably use a lot of the LinkedIn data. Now, LinkedIn data itself is a good thing, of course, but it can also be a bad thing. Sometimes we have individuals that move to another company and they don't update their LinkedIn profile. And by the time you outreach to them, they say, hey, I've moved to another company. This proposition is no longer relevant to me. So you tend to get that a lot. But one thing to stress, another thing to stress as well, is the fact that AI Ark has the most global contacts, from what I'm aware of, more than any other B2B tool or data source out there today. When it comes to global company coverage, I think ZoomInfo edges it a little bit slightly more, but when it comes to global contacts, they are definitely number one. So let's talk about the story behind AI Ark. I love the story. I think it's a great, fascinating story. And it's built by operators. So the two brothers who founded AI Ark also run an agency called AIBs. It's a B2B lead gen agency. So they're both brothers. They launched this. And I actually met these founders, I believe it was last year, towards the back end of last year, at a Clay Club London event. Funny enough, I was actually in the conversation with Abdul at Master Inbox, and I actually met Hamid face to face, and we obviously spoke briefly. And then after that Clay event, we actually met up and we actually had a discussion around using AI Ark for our lead generation. Now, when they were running their agency, AIBs, they actually found two big issues, which kind of still is a big problem today. And one of the first issue was when all the B2B data sources they were using at that particular time, one, they were very expensive. So let's use ZoomInfo because we all know that ZoomInfo is quite expensive. They lock you in for 12 months, 24-month contracts, and it can cost over $15,000 to $16,000, maybe more. Also, Apollo, again, legacy, but still one of the leading data providers. And again, AI Ark slightly cheaper. But not only did they see that a price point was a problem, they also realized that a lot of these legacy providers offered still static data sources. Now, not updating your data sources, a lot of them update them every 6 months, every 3 months. Now that presents a massive issue for a lot of B2B sales teams out there. Now, AI Ark, like I said, refresh their data every 30 days. Apollo, I believe, is every few months. And then ZoomInfo, I don't even know how often they refresh their data. And as you can see, like I alluded to and what I mentioned at the start of the video, AI Ark is leading the race when it comes to how much data coverage on contact basis they have, Now, let's talk about a scenario that I had on behalf of a client. So again, this is a HeyReach screenshot grab. We were actually reaching out to a really good prospect that fit the ICP of one of my KYC clients at the time. We used a trigger of the latest news from a forum that we scraped from the Gambling Commission Register. We scraped some of the fines or some of the situations that were relevant to the offering that the KYC company had. And what we did was we actually also scraped the name of the company that individual worked at. However, the individual actually replied back saying, "Hi, I'd be curious to know as well." Now, this was quite embarrassing from my standard. And the individual actually had moved on from that company about 6 months prior to this. So this was quite an embarrassing situation. I probably should have used a clay agent or a web researcher to go ahead and actually just confirm that they still work at that company via LinkedIn. Now, we shouldn't be having to do this. I understand we probably do need to do this when it comes to the go-to-market world. We want to make sure that individual still works there. And like I said to you, in the video, at the start of the video, sometimes we may not have that visibility if an individual has moved to another company and they haven't updated their profile. It's just kind of luck or timing. But in this situation, if I had used AI Ark at the time, I probably wouldn't have had that issue. So I just wanted to kind of show you that real life example where I actually got stung, which looked embarrassing and wasn't a good look. Even to this day, we still can't get this individual to convert because we've kind of burnt that bridge. And unfortunately, it just looks like AI slot and too automated, and it does not look like we spent enough time to do some research on this individual. Like I said, stay into the end of this video so we can do a step-by-step build. I'm going to probably use the example that you can see on the screen, look for some payment companies in a particular range, and I'm also going to show you some of the super cool features that AI Ark has inside of the platform. Now, inside of the platform, you've got a number of different ways in which we can do some list building and some enrichment, right? So we've got the company lookalike search engine. Again, a lot of B2B data providers have this nowadays. You've got your Ocean.io, Prospio now offers this. You've got Company Enrich. So a lot of the leading B2B data sources have this company lookalike search feature available, which is super cool. Again, quick example, if you've got a CRM and you've got your one closed deals in a pipeline stage, you probably want to download that via CSV file and then push it into a lookalike search feature that AI Ark has to then reverse engineer and find companies that are similar, that need your service, that have been closed one before, that are sitting in your CRM. So this is kind of gold mine data, and we can use that to build a very simple lookalike campaign. So we can add some examples here. We can put some payment companies. We can just use Stripe. Again, I'm all about fintech companies. We can do an Adyen as well. And then we could just press search. You can actually search up to 5 websites or 5 companies or 5 domains. And then what will happen is it would then try and find a close match fit out of 100. I don't think you get 100 out of 100, of course. But it's always capped around the 29,900 and something. You don't get any more than that in a single search feature. As you can see, a lot of these companies are 97s and 96s, which are probably more likely to be very similar to Stripes and your Adyens. If you go down to 100, you probably get 92, 92, maybe 89. I've seen that as well. But most likely, these companies are probably not going to be so much of a lookalike compared to your first page, which has 97s, etc., and so on, so forth. Now, what I like about the lookalike search feature inside of AI Ark is that you can also play around with more of the features, which again, I'm going to show you in a second. You can actually toggle the locations. If you want to go after North American companies, you can do that. If you also wanted to exclude a certain location, you can do that as well, which is pretty cool, pretty standard with a lot of other B2B data providers as well. But again, it's really, really handy when you're trying to be granular with the detail. Employee size, again, you can do predefined ranges or you can do custom ranges. Like I said to you before, a lot of these stuff you can find in another B2B data source, but it's quite useful to have these, again, to be very granular and hyper-focus on your ICP. You've also got industry you can add in as well, again, just to really, really hyper-focus on what industry you want to focus on. So let's say I put payments in, again, to be very granular. Payments come in, and you can also put mobile payments or financial services. And as you can see, that 29,000 results went to 3,700. So you're just being super, super granular and kind of making sure that what you're inputting is really hitting as close to your ICP as possible. You've also got this feature as well, which is, I think, North American industry classifications, something. And then you've also got a SIC as well. So these are just essentially products and services or industries that are based in the North American region. Now, this will be useful if you're outreaching into the US, into the United States. That will probably be quite useful. So you would input a special code that marries up to a particular service or product. Again, that's really cool because you can, again, hyper focus the service or the product of that particular company that you're looking to outreach for. Also, you've got products and services as well. Again, you can include finance, blockchain. Again, it's just, again, more features and more filters to kind of add. Company type is quite cool. So if you want to kind of exclude maybe educational ones or self-employed or non-profit or government companies, you can actually exclude them as well. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty useful when doing some list building. You've also got headcount growth. This might be more relevant for hiring managers or employee by department. Pretty cool for that as well. Pretty standard as well, but for a good feature, you can look at some funding. Again, sometimes we have to use some signal providers to actually find this information. So AI Ark has laid that and baked it in again, which is pretty cool. Operational language, again, that's probably, something that's quite cool as well. If that company operates mainly in Spanish or French, again, that could be relevancy there. Again, from a people point of view, again, I'll touch on that as well. If they have a certain amount of social medias, if they've got all 4 of them, if they've only got 3 of them, again, if they've all got, if they're not visible on LinkedIn or Facebook or X, for example, you can maybe change your outreach channel depending on that situation. But now let's say, for example, we wanted to do a search of the people. What we can actually do is we'll press, if you go to this toggle here, we'll go to selected, we'll select all of the results, assuming that they all match the ICP that we're looking to go after. Press apply selection. We can either export this into another platform and do some further enrichment there, but you don't need to. You can actually do it inside the AI Ark platform. Then what we want to do is actually find relevant key stakeholders / personas. So we would press find persona or find people. Then we will get a list of all the companies that we had searched for. As you can see, we have a million results. But let's say we want to go after chief revenue officers, like offering Prospectology services, for example. We can kind of really hyper focus and go granular with the detail. We can go after chief commercial officers, so all the relevant key stakeholders that we're looking to go after, or founders, for example. We can also exclude, so sometimes when you type in chief revenue officer, you might get an overlap of people that are chief people officers. So again, this is not relevant if we're looking to go after sales leaders at these payment companies. So we can actually exclude certain types of personas. We can even, sometimes when you search on the AI Ark platform or some other B2B data sources, you get some personal assistants or executive assistants, etc., etc. We can actually exclude and toggle that off as well to really get some better results. Now, there's some other super cool features on a personal or people level. You can actually do a number of different things, which is pretty cool. We can actually look at some of the skills. So for example, if they have clay.com on their profile listed as a skill, so you can see it here. Again, this might be more relevant for a hiring manager, or if I have info products, or if I have, for example, a solution to sell to go-to-market engineers. Maybe we want to go after individuals that have clay.com as a skill in their profile. That could be something relevant as well in that situation. Again, profile badge is pretty cool as well. I love this feature. If we go after verified accounts, it just tells me that if somebody has verified account on LinkedIn, they're probably more likely to be more active than somebody that hasn't. So that's pretty cool as well. That's a great signal to add as part of your list building. Another cool filter that I probably skipped over was the current company. So current company included. We can also look at the past company as well. Again, if I think out loud and just soundboard with you, if I'm offering my services to a founder at a fintech company, for example, maybe I want to find founders that are more product led or more marketing led and probably haven't done outbound for themselves. So we can actually find a past company as well and add that feature or filter in to maybe find some of these founders that don't have a B2B outbound background, which kind of makes sense when offering our services, our outbound services here at Prospectology. Another super cool feature is the operation language. So does this individual, is their operating language Spanish or French, for example? Again, this could be super cool because then we can actually create a list just based on who speaks Spanish or who speak French, and then we can actually make our copywriting translated into that language, into their preferred choice of language. For example, if somebody reached out to me in Greek, even though I can't really understand it or read it, but if I did and somebody reached out to me in Greek, that probably would break through the noise, especially if my first language or mother tongue was Greek or Spanish or French. So that's another super cool feature that AI Ark has included. I also noticed a new feature, which is how many social media followers an individual has. Again, this could be a telltale sign of how active an individual is or how popular this individual is. If they've got around about 10 to 25,000 followers on a LinkedIn, it might mean that they are they may be a thought leader, they may be very active, and obviously is a great kind of situation for us to actually go out to reach out to them. Probably as a preference channel to be more LinkedIn as opposed to email. And again, that's kind of relevant to the profile badge as well. So if they have a verified account, it's probably a channel, a preference channel here would probably be to reach out to them on LinkedIn, especially if you can't find their email address. But that's kind of a great telltale sign there as well. So these are all some super cool features, right, that we can actually include when we're doing some list building to reach out to our ICP. Something else that's pretty cool that the founders brought to my attention when I jumped on a call with them is they have something called charts. So it lets you go into the actual data one step further as well. Again, this could be kind of useful. These data points could be useful if you're running an agency or if you're a B2B founder. You can actually see at very high level what your list consists of, what are the top locations, what is the headcount of all of these different companies as well. Again, these are some rich data points that we can layer into our copywriting and into our messaging to really break through the noise and add as an icebreaker when trying to get the attention of these key stakeholders. Something else that's pretty cool with AI Ark, you can actually get an external list from somebody somewhere. For example, we actually scraped the list of all these gambling companies that are registered by the Gambling Commission to have a license. So we actually scraped this list with a data scraper, and then we did some outreach on behalf of our clients. So I actually scraped that list. Just FYI though, you need the company name, the LinkedIn URL, and also the website name as well to have a higher match. So in order to get 100% match, you need all of them three things. We actually ran that list once we scraped it from the Gambling Commission website through an LLM, which is Claude Code of our choice, and then we was able to find and fill in the gaps for their website and also their LinkedIn URL profile. And as you can see on the screen here, we can find a number of different licensed gambling companies for us to go do some outreach for. So if you ever had a situation where there's some external data on a third-party website, scrape that, and then you can then push it via CSV file into the AI Ark platform. Now, if we wanted to start reaching out to some personas and finding some relevant key stakeholders at these companies, we would press select. We'll go to select all results, apply selection. Then we can either export this via CSV file, but then why would we do that? We now want to go ahead and find the personas at each of these companies that are relevant to the offering or value proposition that we're looking to go ahead and present to them. We press find people. And then what we want to do is maybe go after, if I'm, for example, selling a KYC solution or an identity solution, we can then start to look at the job role. So for example, we can look at Director of Compliance. Again, this is just an example. Director of Compliance. We can maybe look at Head of Compliance as well. Some relevant key stakeholders here. Head of Compliance. Head of Compliance, MLRO, which is a money laundering officer. So these are probably relevant key stakeholders when it comes to offering a KYC solution for these gambling companies. Now, what we can do is we can then download these personas via CSV file. But before we do that, we probably want to go ahead and actually do some enrichment to find their email addresses. So what we can actually do is we can actually select all of them and then do a then do an enrichment. So what we want to do now is go ahead and export it via CSV file, but then you'll get presented with this export template. So as you can see here, you'd have, this has been assigned to me, the people data, which I find pretty cool, this is such a damn cool feature here, which what we can actually do is actually do the enrichment inside of AI Ark. So they've created a partnership with BounceBan, and BounceBan is definitely part of our process as well. So we can do some catch-all verification just to verify that email still exists, so we don't actually land in spam compared to other B2B data providers. So I love the fact that we can actually do the enrichment inside of AI Ark via BounceBan as well. So you'd press export, and then what will happen is in the back end you do some exporting to go ahead and find them email addresses at scale. And this will be the first part of our waterfall enrichment. We'd use AI Ark. We then go fill in some blanks with probably a Prospectology using their catch-all verification, and then lastly fill in some blanks with better contact. And then what will happen is you'll get a notification, you'll get an email to say that your AI Ark export is ready via CSV file, and also you'll be able to see as a reminder here of all your exports too. So I just wanted to show you that. How you would actually do some enrichment via CSV file in that situation. AI Ark has a super cool API as well. So you've got people search API, you've got the company search API. So you can actually plug this into a clay.com via API or HTTP. Also Claude Code as well. You can connect the API that way, and obviously do some list building inside of an LLM of your choice, or if you're using a terminal, for example, like Claude Code, then you can actually connect it via API as well. So we love that. So API first, which is what we kind of need to do some list building today. And as you can see in my go-to-market deck, AI Ark is the first step when we do our list building. They refresh the data every 30 days. For us, that's what is necessary. We need that fresh data so we can actually stay on top of what is actually going on in the market today. And when we do some outreach, we don't get some embarrassing situations like we did in this real life example here, when I actually outreached to somebody and they had left that company 6 months prior. Now let's talk about their pricing. So pricing is very, very cheap. It's probably one of the cheapest on the block out there. So $49 will get you 5,000 credits per month. If you get around about 60,000 credits per month on a monthly basis, that's probably more than enough. Here at Prospectology, we tend to use around about 120,000, but at 219 at 60,000 credits per month is pretty damn cheap. So guys, thanks for watching this video. If you're not using AI Ark today, please go ahead and test it, play around with the platform. I would advise using it manually first and then kind of hooking it up to a Claude Code so you can actually use it to create some really high converting lists, to find some really cool personas. They, like I said to you before, every 30 days they refresh their data. It's one of the best data sources out there with some of the best coverage and also one of the most cheapest plans that you can find that's out there today. Hey guys, so thank you for watching this video. My name's Michael. I'm the founder of Prospectology. If you enjoyed this video, smash the like button. I'm going to hyperlink, like I said to you before, my affiliate link in the description below. Please go ahead, test it, play around with it, and make your own opinion for your own self. If you like this video, like I said, smash the like button, subscribe. If you want to see more videos like this, then please do let me know. If you want to see a similar tool and get me to do a walkthrough through that as well and give you a bit of context behind that, then drop a comment in below. My name is Michael. I'm the founder of Prospectology. We help B2B fintech, HR, SaaS clients build the top of the funnel for the third of the price of an in-house SDR team.